All right, so you've booked that dream trip,
Yeah.
flights, hotel, maybe even a non-refundable photography tour in the Amazon rainforest.
Nice.
You're practically smelling the rainforest air already.
Oh, yeah.
But what happens if, like, a week before departure, you break your leg?
Ouch.
Ouch, right? And
Yeah.
possibly a huge financial ouch, too, with all those non-refundable bookings.
That's the kind of nightmare scenario that trip cancellation insurance is designed to prevent.
Okay.
Think of it as your travel safety net.
Okay.
Stepping in to reimburse those prepaid costs if you have to cancel for a covered reason.
So it's not just about getting cold feet and deciding to stay home.
Right.
There have to be some pretty specific circumstances for this insurance to kick in.
Exactly. It's for those unforeseen events that truly derail your travel plans.
Uh-huh.
And let's be honest, even seasoned travelers can get caught off guard.
Okay, so walk me through some of those situations where trip cancellation insurance would actually come to the rescue.
Well, the most common one is probably illness or injury. And we're not just talking about a case of the sniffles, though.
Right.
It needs to be serious enough that a doctor would advise against travel.
Okay.
Whether it's you, your travel buddy, or even a close family member whose health throws a wrench in the plans.
So basically a doctor's note is your golden ticket to getting those non-refundable costs back.
Pretty much.
Okay.
It proves that the cancellation is legitimate and not just a change of heart.
Right.
Speaking of family,
Yeah.
another covered situation is unfortunately death.
I can see why that would be a covered reason.
Yeah.
But are we talking any relative, or is there a specific definition of family in these policies?
It varies.
Yeah.
But usually it's immediate family,
Okay.
spouse, parents, children,
Uh-huh.
and sometimes even in-laws.
Wow.
Always a good idea to check the fine print on that one.
Noted. What about something like, say, a hurricane hitting your destination? I know those can really mess up travel plans.
You're right on the money. Natural disasters and severe weather are definitely covered. But there's a catch.
Okay.
We're talking officially declared events, not just a typical rainy day in Seattle.
Right.
It needs to be something that truly disrupts travel to or within your destination.
Makes sense. So it's not about bad weather. It's about disruptive weather.
Yeah.
Are there any work-related situations that might be covered?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Imagine this. You've booked that trip and suddenly there's a massive merger at work.
Oh.
Your boss tells you, no vacation for you. We need all hands on deck.
Wow.
Some policies will actually cover those unexpected work obligations.
Wow, I never considered that. So trip cancellation insurance isn't just about personal reasons. It can even cover those crazy work situations.
Exactly.
What about if you lose your job unexpectedly?
That's another one that might be covered,
Okay.
especially if the job loss directly impacts your ability to afford the trip.
Right.
It's all about those unforeseen events that throw a wrench in your plans.
Oh, okay. This is starting to sound like it covers a lot more than I originally thought. Is there anything else that typically falls under these policies?
Let's say you're all set to go, bags packed,
Okay.
and bam, jury duty summons arrives in the mail.
Oh, no.
Talk about bad timing.
Yeah.
Trip cancellation insurance can sometimes cover those mandatory legal obligations
Oh, wow.
that pop up and conflict with your travel dates.
That's a relief. Jury duty is stressful enough without having to worry about losing money on a trip. One last thing. What if the travel provider is the one causing the problem? Like if the airline goes bankrupt or cancels your flight?
You're thinking like a pro.
Okay.
That's definitely another common scenario that trip cancellation insurance can cover.
All right.
Protects you from those unexpected airline or cruise line issues like bankruptcy, strikes, or even just major operational problems that lead to cancellations.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
It seems like trip cancellation insurance provides a surprisingly wide safety net for those what-if moments.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing there are some limitations, right?
You bet it's not a magical get-out-of-travel-free card.
Right.
There are definitely some things that trip cancellation insurance doesn't cover.
Okay.
And understanding those exclusions is just as important as knowing what's included.
All right, let's unpack those exclusions. What are some of the things that travelers should be aware of?
Well, one of the big ones is pre-existing medical conditions.
Okay.
If you have a chronic health issue that flares up before your trip,
Uh-huh.
a standard policy likely won't cover that unless you specifically purchase a waiver.
So if I have a health condition, I need to be extra careful and see if there are any special add-ons or waivers I might need.
Exactly. You want to be upfront about any pre-existing conditions when you're shopping for insurance.
Right.
So you're not caught off guard later.
Makes sense. What else wouldn't typically be covered?
This one might seem obvious,
Okay.
but you can't just change your mind about a trip and expect the insurance to refund you.
Right.
It's designed for unforeseen events, not buyer's remorse.
So no backing out, because that new season of my favorite show just dropped on Netflix.
Afraid not.
Okay.
Though there is an interesting exception.
Yeah.
Something called cancel for any reason coverage, or CFAR.
Interesting.
We can dive into that later.
Okay, CFA, that sounds intriguing. Anything else we should know about what trip cancellation insurance doesn't cover?
Well, most policies specifically exclude coverage for war or civil unrest.
Oh.
So if you book a trip to a region that suddenly experiences political instability,
Yikes.
you're probably on your own.
That's definitely something to consider when choosing a destination. What about intentional acts? Like if you do something reckless that causes you to cancel the trip?
You're not going to get any sympathy from the insurance company in that case.
Right.
Intentional acts, whether it's illegal activities or self-inflicted injuries, are usually excluded from coverage.
Fair enough. You can't expect insurance to bail you out of bad decisions. So we've covered what trip cancellation insurance is, why it matters,
Yeah.
and some key scenarios where it would and wouldn't apply.
Exactly. It's all about having that financial safety net
Yeah.
and peace of mind.
Right?
So you can focus on the fun part, actually enjoying your trip.
Speaking of enjoying the trip, how do we even go about finding the right trip cancellation insurance policy for our specific needs?
Right.
There are so many options out there, it can feel overwhelming.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And there are definitely some key things to consider when navigating the world of insurance policies.
Okay.
We can jump into that right after this.
All right, so let's say I'm convinced trip cancellation insurance is a good idea.
Okay.
But how do I actually choose a policy?
Right.
Where do I even begin?
It can feel a bit like navigating a jungle out there with all the different options and fine print.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be overwhelming.
Okay.
The first step is to channel your inner risk assessor.
Okay, risk assessor hat on.
Yeah.
What am I looking for?
Think about all the potential things that could realistically derail your trip.
Mm-hmm.
Start with your own health and the health of anyone you're traveling with. Are there any pre-existing conditions that could flare up?
And I imagine the destination matters too, right?
Absolutely.
Some places are more prone to things like natural disasters or political instability.
Exactly. Consider the location.
Okay.
Is it hurricane season?
Uh-huh.
Are there any travel advisories in effect?
Right.
Those factors definitely increase the risk of trip cancellation.
And what about work? I feel like unexpected things always seem to pop up at the worst possible time.
You're telling me,
Yeah.
be realistic about your work commitments.
Okay.
Do you have a history of last-minute projects
Right.
or a job that could pull you away unexpectedly? Knowing your own risk profile is key to choosing the right policy.
Okay, so I've got my list of potential risks.
Yeah.
Now,
what
what
I'd say.
do I just start Googling trip cancellation insurance and hope for the best?
Not quite.
Okay.
Thank goodness for the internet, though.
Right.
There are some excellent online comparison tools
Yeah.
that let you see policies side by side.
That sounds way less intimidating than digging through individual insurance websites.
Yeah.
But what should I actually be comparing? What are the key things to look for?
First up, coverage limits.
Okay.
This is the maximum amount the insurance company will pay out if you have to cancel.
Mm-hmm.
You want enough coverage to reimburse all those non-refundable costs.
Right.
Like flights, hotels, tours, the whole shebang.
Got it. Got to make sure I'm fully covered if disaster strikes.
Yeah.
What else should I be paying attention to?
We talked about exclusions earlier.
Right.
So make sure you really dig into what the policy doesn't cover.
Okay.
Does it address your specific concerns?
Uh-huh.
Remember all that risk assessment we did?
Yeah.
This is where it pays off.
Right. I've already done the work of identifying those potential trip wreckers. Now I need to make sure the policy has me covered.
You're getting it.
All right.
And of course, you'll want to compare costs.
Right.
Look for a policy that balances good coverage with a premium you can actually afford.
It's all about finding that sweet spot. But let's be honest, insurance policies can be notoriously dense. How do I avoid getting lost in all that fine print?
Don't just skim the highlights.
Okay.
Take the time to actually read the policy details, including those dreaded terms and conditions.
Ugh. I know it's not the most exciting task, but I guess it's worth it to avoid any surprises down the line.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You need to understand exactly what you're buying and what's covered.
Right.
Look for the specific reasons for cancellation,
Okay.
the documentation you'll need for a claim, even the policy's cancellation policy in case your plans change.
Speaking of documentation, what kind of things should I be prepared to provide if I actually have to use the insurance?
It depends on the reason for the cancellation, but always keep detailed records of your trip,
Okay.
booking confirmations, receipts, and anything related to why you had to cancel.
So basically a super organized travel file with all the essential paperwork, digital or physical copies.
Both are great. Having everything readily accessible can make the claims process much smoother.
Okay.
And speaking of claims, it's worth familiarizing yourself with the process beforehand.
Don't wait until I'm already stressed out about canceling my trip to try and figure out how to file a claim.
Exactly.
Good advice.
Take a few minutes to understand how it works. Who to contact, what information you'll need.
Right.
Most companies have this outlined on their websites or in their policy documents.
Okay, so I've assessed my risks, compared policies, and I'm ready to brave the fine print. Anything else I should know before taking the plunge and actually buying trip cancellation insurance?
Don't forget about those optional add-ons we mentioned.
Right.
CFAR or cancel for any reason. Coverage can give you extra flexibility. And if you have pre-existing conditions, a waiver might be worth considering for extra peace of mind.
CFAR, that's the one that lets you cancel for literally any reason, right?
Yep, it's like the ultimate no regrets option.
Wow.
But it usually comes at an extra cost and only covers a percentage of your non-refundable expenses.
Still might be worth it for some folks, especially those who value flexibility or tend to have things change at the last minute. Okay, so we've covered how to choose the right policy. But what about actually purchasing it? Where do I go to get this magical travel insurance?
The good news is there are several ways to go about it depending on your preference.
Hit me with those options. I'm ready to protect my travel investment.
For the tech-savvy traveler, buying online is usually the easiest route.
Okay.
Many insurance companies have user-friendly websites where you can get quotes, compare coverage, and purchase directly. It's quick, convenient, and you can do it from anywhere in the world.
I love the convenience factor. But what if I'm more of an old-school traveler and prefer the personal touch?
No problem. You can always go through a travel agent.
Okay.
They often have expertise in travel insurance and can recommend policies tailored to your specific trip, plus they handle the paperwork for you.
That's a great option for those who want a bit more guidance.
Yeah.
Any other ways to buy this insurance?
You can also go directly to the source and purchase through the insurance company itself.
Okay.
Many companies have phone lines or online chat features where you can talk to a representative and get your questions answered.
So many options.
Yeah.
Whether I'm a tech whiz or prefer the human touch, there's a way for everyone to get covered.
Exactly. It's all about finding the method that works best for you.
Okay, so I've chosen my preferred purchasing method.
Yeah.
Any final tips for making the process go smoothly?
Don't procrastinate.
Okay.
Buy your insurance as soon as you book your trip to ensure you're covered for the entire duration.
No last-minute scrambling for insurance. Got it. Anything else?
Once you've purchased the policy, stay organized.
Okay.
Keep all those important documents, your policy receipts, the insurance company's contact info, in a safe and easily accessible place, both physically and digitally.
Makes sense. No one wants to be frantically searching for that info if they have to cancel a trip.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of information today.
We've talked about what trip cancellation insurance is, why it's important, what it covers, and doesn't cover, how to choose the right policy, and even how to buy it.
It's been quite the deep dive, but I think it's essential knowledge for any traveler in today's world. Trip cancellation insurance can truly make a difference if the unexpected happens.
I couldn't agree more. I'm definitely feeling a lot more prepared to protect my future travels.
And that's what it's all about, traveling with confidence and peace of mind.
Before we wrap up, though, I'm curious to hear your final thoughts on why this kind of insurance is so crucial in today's world.
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
We face more potential travel disruptions now than ever before.
Right.
Unforeseen health issues, global events that can change in an instant. Even our own work schedules can throw a wrench in our plans.
Yeah.
Trip cancellation insurance is that buffer, that extra layer of protection.
Right.
Helping us navigate those uncertainties.
It's like you said earlier, a safety net for our travel dreams. It takes away some of that what-if anxiety so we can focus on the excitement of the trip.
Exactly. It lets us plan those adventures with more confidence,
Right.
knowing we have a backup plan if life throws a curveball.
Yeah.
And that peace of mind is priceless, letting us truly relax and enjoy the anticipation of the journey ahead.
I don't know about you, but I'm definitely feeling a lot more informed about trip cancellation insurance now.
Good.
It's one of those things I always knew existed but never really understood the ins and outs.
It's easy to overlook, for sure.
Yeah.
But the more you know about it, the better equipped you are to make smart choices about your travel investments.
So for anyone listening who's planning a trip, whether it's a weekend getaway or that once-in-a-lifetime adventure, what's the key takeaway?
Don't wait till the last minute to think about travel insurance.
Okay.
Take the time to do your research. Assess your individual risks and compare different policies. Read the fine print, understand the coverage, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
And remember, there are options out there for every type of traveler and every budget.
Yes.
Whether you buy online, go through a travel agent, or work directly with an insurance company, the important thing is to find a policy that gives you peace of mind and protects your travel dreams.
Well said.
All right, listeners, that wraps up our deep dive into the world of trip cancellation insurance.
Yes.
Hopefully you're walking away with valuable information and a newfound sense of confidence about protecting your next travel adventure.
Safe travels, everyone.
Until next time.